Hello, Margaret Coolman here from Soul Astrology. Yes, new moon in Aries, but it doesn't feel much like Aries is going anywhere at the moment. Venus and Mercury have both been in already, so we may well have expectations innerly. We may have put feelers out, made movements in a new direction, but nothing seems to be happening quite right, except perhaps those things that actually do have to do with the past. A bit as though we've thrown our desires and intentions a little further than we can actually reach as quickly as we'd like to. And making our way towards them, we're having to deal with stuff that's left in our path from before. So if your intentions were to sort out the past, then you may well feel quite a lot is happening. And perhaps that's a suggestion as to how we need to focus. Focus on what still needs dealing with. What we've left over in Pisces. Because Venus went back into Pisces on the 27th of March, and Mercury goes back into Pisces the day after this new moon, and neither of them even go direct until April. Mercury begins to go direct on the 6th of April, and the 12th of April Venus goes direct. On the 16th of April, Mercury makes its second effort to get into Aries, more successful, and Venus approaches Aries smoothly, fast, effective on the 30th of April. So we've still got quite a lot of Pisces to deal with on a personal level. These are faster moving planets. The faster moving planets are actually to do with our inner personal experience. It's not the world doing anything to us. And of course, one wonders if anything ever is. During this whole process, we've got Mars still in Cancer, trining all the end of Pisces bunch. And Mars doesn't go into Leo until the 18th of April. So perhaps that's when we'll feel a bit more energized, halfway into the next month, just a few days after the next full moon. I'm sure you've noticed before that often when we want to really make a positive move forward, it feels a bit as if we have to go backwards a bit first. And it's quite important, I think, to consider this not as a backward movement. Much more it's dealing with what we've left over to trip over on the path ahead. So we're kind of clearing the rocks, the old rocks, off the path as we go forward. And that takes time and energy. There's something about taking responsibility for it all. And we have a lot of assistance from Uranus, interestingly, making those two sextiles to the Pisces and the Cancer. Uranus making his way through the physical world, cutting ties, letting go. The fact of it seems to be, though, that we can't actually consciously let go of things until we consciously know they're there. This is perhaps a month for digging into ourselves to find out what it is that we may have held on to that we hardly even noticed we were doing that. And letting our updated view of the world, our updated understanding of things and the information that we have, letting that cut the ties. at the rock bottom, what we find are the old addictions that often stem from trauma. So there's deep work being done. And we are getting a lot of assistance from the Neptune. Neptune dissolves the boundaries wherever it is. So perhaps allowing these deeply buried things to be visible to us, so that we find out more about what's in our depths. But also, in dissolving all those boundaries, it does give us access to the finer, more spiritual levels of life. The north node of the moon is still in the very late degrees of Pisces, hanging about a bit. And in this new moon chart, Venus is very close and will of course actually cross over. We're looking at love. We're looking at how we might have loved in the past and maybe misused it or misunderstood what love was. Another opportunity to realize that if one is in deep pain, it's not actually love that's hurting us, because love heals. Love is warm. It holds. Love is accepting, gentle. Love is of the spirit. It is that of spirit that permeates through all the other layers of existence. And in our bid for survival, we kind of get gripped onto it rather. And when we lose, perhaps, or can't hold, or get overrun by what we're holding on to, we feel pain. And it's important not to think that it's the love that is painful. It's actually the holding on. So having seen one's addictions, one needs then to call on the spirit, our own inner connection to the source, to oneness, to peace and beauty, and find the love inside. You know when you found it because it fills you and spreads out from you and reflects back from your world. And we need to remember that it's always there. So what we're letting go of is old, outdated, painful reaction patterns from the past. And what we realize in the process is that when you drop off all those shadowy bits, the light is bright. And you're never alone. We're all always surrounded by love. By the full moon, Venus has gone back even over Saturn and is turning around to come forwards again. On the turn, of course, because it's actually just the edge of a circle that we're looking at, the movement appears to be very slow. So she'd been slowing down as she went across Saturn, and she continues slowly to go forwards. That whole few days around the full moon and after is giving us a chance to understand how love operates really, effectively, truly. That which is true is eternal. What is not eternal, one could say, is part of the illusion of life. And Saturn is about the truth. In Pisces, the truth is that we are all one. We are all these wonderful individual expressions of the one. But when we get to our core is when we find that, yes, that one shines out of every person. And this is our awakening. During the second part of April, Venus will go across the North Node once more. She's not going to reach Neptune again until she does get into Aries at the end of the month. May is going to be a very different month from April. Around the full moon is when Mercury goes into Aries again. So from the full moon, there could be more focus, intent focus, achieving what we're setting out to manifest. In that full moon chart, of course, the moon is in Libra, opposite Aries, and the sun is right on Chiron. We're looking at the wounds in relationship. Possibly we're looking at the amount of compliance there may have been, how much we give away of our individual selves when we are in relationship with another person. We all do it. It's not just the empaths. In order to relate through this appearance of duality, we have to stretch beyond ourselves to discover that there is another person out there. Yes, we are all one, and the other person is a different expression of that one. And that's what we are relating to on this material level. So the wounds show up. The sun on Chiron, the light shining on where we have lost confidence in being just and exactly who we are, and where we need to learn restraint in order not to harm others, which ultimately, of course, harms ourselves. And in the process, because the moon in Libra is emphasizing the need for diplomacy, for sensitivity and kindness, the Chiron can become the healer. From the heart, we learn how being not compliant, but sensitive to and responsive to how other people are, with a full desire not to harm or hurt, actually does bring healing to the other person's sense of self. And the process itself matures us into a position of feeling safer being who we are. Now, both ends are being squared by Mars in Cancer. It makes me laugh, actually. The Mars energizes, and it's still energizing the Pisces Mercury in this chart. Mercury gets out of the way quickly into Aries, but it still takes Mars just that little bit extra few days, another 5 days of Cancer. So that little time after the full moon, for all that we're working towards healing ourselves in relationship, we may be well served to spend some time meditating into the oneness that we all are really. Otherwise, we could fall into that old pattern of treating someone else nicely to get a good result, which is manipulative, not to say controlling. This shift that is healing comes from the heart. It's the sun on Chiron. And we are moving from mentally working it out, left brain stuff, to the heart energy, which is encompassed more by the right brain. Perhaps I should say understood more rather than encompassed. The heart informs the right brain of what's really important, where the value lies. And as Mars is at right angles to the full moon. Jupiter is making a good connection. Smooth flow, bit out of accuracy, but still effective. In Gemini, the communicating our desire for relationship, our desire to be received and to be connected, which goes a long way to making the healing possible. There is no healing if love is not received. Right through the month, the position of Mars is at right angles to Chiron. And in Cancer, it has a lot to do with family, our early beginnings, childhood, all of that. And how difficult it is for a child to become independent. They have so much to learn, so many mistakes to make. They need so much support to become who they are and not who we think they ought to be. And of course, all of that applies to each one of us, looking back into our own childhoods. And maybe that's why this Pisces month, as it were, is so important, to make our way gently through with acceptance, respect for each person, each character in our own story, and particularly ourselves. May your soul and spirit guide you, and me. Thank you. Are you not beautiful, dear soul? Your body breathes, held in faithful elastic skin and many-layered tissue, to move you through the wonderful experience of being alive in this world. Is that not amazing, the complexity? Every system you find intricately part of the whole, and all encompassed by the aura of gentle love, generously fed by Earth's abundance, no need to deserve, freely given, part of the complexity supporting the whole, and all blended for life to flow through. You are beautiful, wondrous, and there's more, because you are growing towards the source of wholeness. You are a maturing child of the universe, waking from sleep, where you dreamed of life, waking to life's brilliant reality.